Okay, this video tutorial is for solving literal equations. All that a literal equation is an equation replaced with a bunch of variables in it. So you shouldn't get confused with this. You're still going to apply all the same rules to algebra that you've done before for a normal equation. So you can kind of pretend like there's numbers in there as well if you're having that much trouble with it. But we do have these steps here that can help you so that you don't get confused. So if you follow these steps, these 4 steps here, you should have no problem when solving a literal equation. So let's take a look at our first example here. It says to solve for x, and we notice that x is appearing here twice, right? Now, whenever you try to get x by itself, you should only have x alone equaling everything else here. There should never appear another x on the other side. That would be bad, okay? So if we have 2 x's, that means we want to break it down so that we only have 1. So the first step here says to eliminate the intended variables from the denominator. In this case, x is my intended variable. I want to get that out of the denominator here. So because it's in the denominator, I need to multiply first by that entire expression. I can't just multiply just by x. I have to take with it this y, because right now they're attached together. So I'm going to multiply on both sides by the expression x plus y. Notice that this is going to cancel out here, and that'll leave me with x plus y times y equaling x. Alright, now I completed step 1. The next step is to get all intended variables to one side. So I just actually brought that x to the other side over here, and I want to bring it back over, but I can't just subtract x and expect for that to just come over back to the other side, because again, it's still... Okay, sorry about that. So I can't just expect to subtract x on both sides, because that's actually breaking some algebra rules here. Right now the x is still attached to this y. So what I need to do first, and this is kind of weird, we actually have to distribute this y and make sure that we can get the x, because right now even though the x is attached to this y, I can still get rid of this by now subtracting xy to the other side. Okay, so now I'm left with y squared equaling x minus xy. So I just successfully gotten all of my variables, the x variables, to one side here. So I've just completed step 2. Now, step 3 says to factor out the variable if necessary. So in this case it is necessary. I see my variable appearing more than once, which means I have to factor. So I'm going to take out a GCF here of x, leaving me with 1 minus y. Okay, now I can further isolate this x, because now all I need to do is get rid of this term. So step 4 here says to divide. All I need to do is divide by 1 minus y. That's going to cancel and leave me with x equaling y squared over 1 minus y. Okay, now in problem number 2, we're asked to solve for g. And again, I have these 4 steps written off to the side here. In this case, when you look at g, you see g appearing twice, but you do not see it appearing in the denominator, so you actually can skip step 1. So let's go straight to step 2, and that's to get all intended variables to one side. It doesn't matter which side you pick, left or right, but I'm going to bring GA over to this side. So if I bring GA over to this side, I now have GB minus GA, and then I'm going to bring that x to the other side because I want to try to isolate the g terms as much as possible. So I want to get everything else to the other side. So I subtract that x, and I have negative x plus y on the right-hand side. Alright, so we've done step 2. Step 3 says to factor out your variable. In this case, we do need to factor because we have 2 g's. So I'm going to take out the GCF, which happens to be g, and I'm left with b minus a. And I have on the other side negative x plus y still. I'm now going to divide out b minus a on both sides. And I'm left with g equaling negative x plus y over b minus a. So our goal here was to isolate g. Notice how we only have one g appearing. There are no other g's, phantom g's on the other side, because this is not okay. You can't have 2 variables, one on each side. So only one g, and we're good. Alright, now in the last problem, I picked this problem because I want to show you that sometimes these rules don't actually apply. So step 1 here says to eliminate the intended variable from the denominator. Well, t here is not in the denominator right now, so we skip step 1. Step 2 says to get all intended variables to one side. Well, this t is already, there's not multiple t's to collect, so it's kind of already on one side. So step 2 doesn't apply. Step 3 says to factor out the variable, and again, we can't really factor out our variable because there's not more than one t. So this is not going to work. So obviously step 4 to divide isn't going to help us either. What we want to do when we just see one variable and we can, try to isolate that variable by itself, this I need to keep here and move everything else away from it. So we're going to follow our normal algebra rules here. And since I have a 2 in the denominator, first thing I want to do here is multiply by 2 to get it out of there. So these are going to cancel now, leaving me with 2d equaling EA times t squared, or EAT squared. It's the same thing. Now I can get rid of each of these terms here by dividing out EA, and I can divide them out one at a time if I want to. So I can divide out E first, okay, and then I can divide out the A, or I could divide them out both together. So I have 2d over EA equaling t squared. Now to isolate t, since it's t squared, we're going to do the inverse operation here, which is going to be to take the square root of both sides. And remember, when you take the square root of both sides, a lot of you guys have a tendency to forget to do this step. You have to take positive and negative of that term. So we have positive or negative root 2d over EA equaling t. There's a bunch of practice problems in your packet. If you want to go back and review one, I think in review 1, so review worksheet number 1 has problems number 20 and 21, and review worksheet, I'm sorry, that's actually review worksheet number 2. So you guys can practice those and just look for anywhere that says the title literal equation. And that's it.